In the past year, 150 people were picked up that are on our terror watch list coming across our southern border. That is more than the last 5 years combined, just in the past year. This past year, over 1 million people crossed our border that literally the Border Patrol could see in the desert but couldn't get to. We have no idea for those million. They weren't turning themselves in like some other folks are. They're in camo and running from Border Patrol.
Think about that. The population of Boston crossing the border, Border Patrol agents can see all of these people crossing illegally, but they're called gotaways. The population of Boston. That was our next guest, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, talking about what the border has been like for the last 3 years. The numbers are shocking. 150 people on the terror watch list attempting to cross the southern border in the last year alone.
And joining us for more on this here in studio, Oklahoma Senator and lead Republican on the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, James Lankford. Thanks for waking up with us and coming in here this morning.
Glad to be able to be here.
Yeah.
It's a very important issue that we've got to be able to deal with for the national security reasons that y'all just highlighted.
And we've been talking about this since Joe Biden took office. So the president wants this too big to fail mega bill that would allocate $60 billion for Ukraine, another $7 or $8 billion for Taiwan, and then $14 billion for Israel, and $14 billion for the southern border.
Right.
You say that there is a chance this bill passes, but the big question is, how do we lock down what that money is actually spent on at the southern border?
Well, let me just start with the basics. What Joe Biden sent over, there is no chance that that actually passes. And what we have responded with is you want to be able to help other countries in their security. I understand the position that the world's great superpower, the United States, has on the world stage, but we are not going to do something to be able to help other nations be able to protect our border and leave our border wide open. We're just not going to do that. And so we've been very, very clear. Even dollars allocated to the border are not going to fix this. We need policy changes. We need law changes. We need a change in behavior of what's actually happening. So any dollars that go towards border at all need to actually have oversight of how it's spent, what it's spent, basic metrics to be able to see the reduction for a number of people that are actually crossing. And we need to have a change in law. Currently, our asylum process, let me just give you, for instance, currently, yesterday, 9,400 people crossed the border illegally yesterday. Of those, about 500 of those were screened. The other 8,900 were just released in the country. We don't know who they are. We don't know their criminal background. We don't know anything else about them. 8,900 of them released yesterday just into the country. By the way, the day before, it was 8,800 that were released, just day after day after day. To do one more set of numbers, numbers are hard to be able to track. But if you go back to 2010, not ancient history, 2010, we had 21,000 people that year cross the border and ask for asylum. That is every 3 days now, from what was a year in 2010.
And the administration doesn't care. Clearly.
No, they don't.
Clearly. Joe Biden's got, at minimum, 15 months left in the Oval Office. If he wins re-election, this is going to go on and on. What does this mean for our country? And I'm thinking about, we're all parents.
Right.
I'm thinking about my little kids and the America that they're going to grow up in. Listen, we lived through 9/11. How concerned are you about another 9/11? We don't know who these people are, and people get offended when you say that.
I know, that is my primary
They get offended when you say that.
They shouldn't get offended. The 9/11 terrorists were all illegally present in the United States. So this is not like they're disconnected. They are connected. 70,000 people in the last 2 years have come across the border that this White House designated as what they call special interest aliens. These were individuals, they were coming from Pakistan, they were coming from Iran, they were coming from Iraq, they were coming from China or Russia, where we have no criminal history on them. We know there's known terrorist links around where they are, where they're from, but they were all released into the country. All of those, all 70,000 of those. And they're saying they're, quote unquote, watching them. There's no way they're watching 70,000 people. They don't know where they are. There's no tracking for their location. This is what's happening day after day on the border. If even 1% of those are a risk, that's 700 terrorists that are in the country right now.
And reading headlines just yesterday at Del Rio, at the Border Patrol right there, the few that they stopped and did background checks on, 21 of them were convicted child sex offenders. Right. So you have these violent criminals that are coming in, and that's just 21 that they found. But as you mentioned, thousands more coming in. Where does this end?
Well, there's an easier way to be able to fix this, and the administration's just got to decide if they want to be able to fix it. There's two basic principles here. Right now, they're releasing people to the border saying you can check yourself in at some location years ahead, and we'll give you an asylum screening. Do that screening at the border. The vast majority of these individuals don't qualify. Turn them around immediately. If you release people into the country, then they never show up again. The second thing is you can't just mass release folks, period, and be unscreened entirely. So screen all those folks to the border, turn around those folks, people will not come anymore.
You know, the question I get from family, Thanksgiving, I got the same question. Why is Joe Biden letting this happen? Why? And I guess the prevailing notion is that, no, they want Democratic voters not in 24, but maybe, you know, down the trough, 28, 32, and so on and so forth. Do you have any idea why a human being would let this happen? Because we're not a country if we don't have a border.
Right.
Simple as that.
It's basic national sovereignty is for every single country to be able to have a defined border, that they know who they are, they know the population that's there. Some people have theorized that same thing on voting. Other folks would just say on the far progressive left, they just feel like borders are mean. We should allow people to travel anywhere they want to at any time. I just think go try that in other countries. Go travel around the rest of the world and see how that philosophy works. That doesn't work. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to have a clearly defined border. I don't mind immigration. Legal immigration is a great thing.
Absolutely.
I just want to have tall fences and wide gates where we're clear on legal immigration.
And we know who's here.
That's correct. And we stop illegal immigration.
Yeah, Senator, great having you in. I know that you're going to the Oklahoma football game
yes, Oklahoma
this
State.
weekend. That's
Oklahoma
a big
State
one.
on Saturday is a big one.
But do yourself a favor and walk around New York City while you're here and take a look at what's happened to this once great American city since Joe Biden took office in January 2021. So good seeing you.
Good to see all as well.
Thank you.
Go Sooners. Right?
No, that's Cowboys.
No.
Go
That's
Cowboys.
he's a Cowboys
I do
guy.
that. I do that. I just watched a 30 for 30 about that. Great seeing you, Senator.
Good to see you as
Thank
well.
you. All right.